Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, and I was going to read a couple comments off of today's, or I should say, the last video I did. I did not do one yesterday because I was so busy that just by the time I got around to even thinking about one, I was just kind of like, oh man, it's late. I can't do a video at this hour of the day. I won't have enough time to, get it up and running before midnight, basically. So this one might be a little bit long, and I'm going to go ahead and put a warning on here. There may be discussions about Jerry Ann and her situation that some people might not want to hear from me. I know Jerry Ann's got her group of supporters who sometimes do not like me talking about her, especially since some of the conversations I've had about her kind of put people on the edge, I guess. But I also am going to also say at the same time an apology towards her because I don't know what she's going through. I just know that she's suffering because of the aches and pains due to the cancer situation, plus the weather. Today's going to be a rough one for both of us because she's still not feeling good. She has not been feeling good the whole weekend. I'm just hoping that come Monday she's feeling better, because if not, I'm gonna basically granted I'll have to do it after work, but I'm gonna basically tell her, hey, we don't know what this is. You either need to get a hold of your primary doctor so you can see her, or you need to get a hold of one of your other doctors here in town that's dealing with the cancer treatment, whole 9 yards, and let them know, you had a whole weekend where you weren't feeling good. She's got, besides the aches and pains of her right leg and whatnot, which for me, it's like that could either be it's healing, or you need to go see the doctor because something went wrong. But her emotional stress and her aches and pains and just feeling like miserable and useless, she is, all messed up. Now, I don't know. I have not done enough research or anything like that on her type of cancer, but from what I've gathered, she's getting to that stage where the whole having cancer and being in pain and being psychologically emotional because she can't do what she wants to do because she's stuck basically on her bum. I'm not saying that she can't get up and do stuff. It's just she cannot put a lot of pressure, or actually she can't put any pressure. It's toe touch only on the right leg still. Well, the problem with this is it's causing me fatigue. It's causing me to have emotional issues. And I'm trying to do everything I can to keep from being emotional. But at the same time, I'm trying not to shut myself off to the factor of Jerry's got problems. So I'm stuck in between my own difficulties and my own aches and pains and emotional issues, and her emotional issues and her aches and pains due to cancer. And I'm like, if I had not gone to work yesterday, if I had not done this catering event yesterday with the college, I probably would have slept all day yesterday. As is, I had difficulty going to sleep last night. I just don't know why. Don't know if it's just a factor of working so hard and being coming home like dead on my feet. Between the heavy lifting of food racks and whatnot to running around trying to get things done. I mean, for the most part, I was not a server or anything like that, but we had tarts to finalize, and we had produce that needed to be chopped up, and I don't mind doing any of those jobs. I like working with food. Then once we got all our ingredients and whatnot worked on and set up, we had to take everything upstairs and plate salads and dessert dishes. Plate it up. So it was one of those, like, I think what was the heaviest for me to deal with was holding on to and carrying around a bucket of I forgot what the chef called them. They were a type of beet, but it did not look like a beet because it had red and white in it. I think it was called not a rainbow beet, but some specific name for the type of beet. Was it a sugar beet? I don't remember the name of it. So, but it was an because when I first looked at these things, they looked like a beet. I mean, once they're cooked and you look at them real good, it looked like a beet married a Vidalia onion, because you can see the different layers once they were cut up. But yeah, that was part of the salad. I got to deal with the beets. I don't know how I got that task, but other than my left arm feeling like it was pulled out of whack, like literally the bicep muscle feels very tight and sore, but we did the job. I can't wait until I get back Monday and hear the results, because usually it's like the day after, or the next work day after a catering event. We get critiqued for our work and told how well we did. But here I am. I'm like, got one day before I go back to work. Do I want to take the day to rest up, or do I want to take the day to work around the house? Jerry said that's kind of up to me. She was a little upset this morning because of the fact that she wants to do more than just sit around the house. But she's leaving it up to me what we do. And I'm like, well, what I wanted to do today has nothing to do with we, because I don't know where I can park Jerry or how I can get Jerry to participate in cleaning up this mess. That is if I feel like doing it, because bending and lifting today is kind of like ugh. I know I have to sort through clothes so I can do those today because I need uniforms, but can't even hold my coffee cup with my left hand or arm. My hand feels stiff. My arm is hurting. It's part of life. Yeah, I'll bitch and moan about it, but then I'll turn around and go do what I have to do without, problems. But there's a lot of little stuff that probably needs to be done, and I don't know, depending on how I feel after breakfast. Depends on what I'm going to do. I had somebody ask on one of the questions if they can see pictures of what the craft room looks like. Well, I will tell you this much. I'm willing to go take those pictures, but the craft room is not 100% done yet, because Jerry's got to go in there and take care of the stuff on the desk. Maybe that's what we can do together. See if she's willing to do it in her role later, or if she wants her wheelchair while she's out in the car freezing. Like, I don't even know what the weather is. Let's see if I can find out what the weather is real quick. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the 20s, because weather around here lately has been, I said open. Thank you. The weather around here has been like down below freezing. In fact, the last 2 mornings I've had to go to work, it's been in the minus category. Where's my weather app? There it is. But come on, if the internet's not screwing up on me. Let's see here. Currently says 37, but feels like 29. Oh, that's crazy. It's saying morning time could be up to 40, afternoon in the 30s, mid-30s, evening down in the upper 20s, and then overnight in the 33 degree range. That's what I call nuts. Yep. Today's weather is screwy. Let's see here, Monday. Monday I could be seeing lows in the teens, if not single digits, depending on wind chill. High on Monday is going to be 54. But here's the crazy thing. Tuesday it's going to be a low of 9 or lower, depending on wind chill. And the high is only going to be 27. Right, Monday is going to be the high of the week until Sunday. Then it's going to be back in the 50s. But it's doing one of these roller coaster things that just, what makes my body so messed up is I can't keep up with the rapid change of temperature. It boggles my mind, and it makes me kind of go, what the heck am I dealing with? I'm pretty sure that's anywhere in the country or the world lately. In fact, I was looking, what was it, Friday, I looked at the weather app in the evening time, and we were, here in Missouri, we were in the 20s, yet Juneau, Alaska was 33, and Oslo, Norway was about 29, 30 degrees. They were like 10 degrees warmer, 10 to 15 degrees warmer than we were, and I'm like, they're closer to the Arctic Circle and they're warmer than I am right now. What gives? You know? Even here in the lower 48, it was warmer in New York and Chicago than it was here in Missouri that day I looked, and I just kind of went, this ain't right, man. But that just reminds me of some of the information I read. Excuse me, my ear is itchy. Well, there was the predictions of the Phoenix rising from Mary Summer Rain and No Eyes. Then there was, I forgot who the other person was that was in that show, that episode that I watched of Prophecy and Secret or something like that, way back in the 80s, 80s, late 90s, something like that. Probably late 90s. I think we were living here in Missouri at the time. Mom and I. But no, all we can do when it comes to Mother Nature is keep a eye out for the weather and be prepared for anything she throws at you. I have not looked at any of. Sorry, I am bouncing all over the place because that's where my brain is working right now. I have not looked at any of Jerry Ann's posts in the last day or two. Last time I looked at Jerry Ann's posts was because somebody came onto my channel and told me how Jerry was talking about how good my oatmeal and whatnot was, and I'm just like, okay, so she's praising me for my cooking skills. You know, the way I took it, or the way it looked like it was supposed to be something bad, like, oh, Jerry's talking about you again, and whatever. But you know, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing the best I can to take care of her. I'm doing the best that, you know, any person could do. Yeah, there are some days, especially when I'm at work, that I wish there was somebody here to watch over her other than mom. Oh, that was a comment that I recall. I read it this morning, and I'm not going to give names, but one person was talking about the way it was worded. Put it this way, almost sounded like I didn't have to worry about work or doing anything to earn money because of Jerry's situation, that I could work, you know, sometime in the future. Well, I'll be honest with you. Between the YouTube money and my work money, we get enough money to keep up on our bills. We might not have any extra money for a lot of thrills and chills. Now I might be getting my comments kind of mixed up, but somebody else was talking about the expense, or Jerry complaining that she can't afford her preferred peanut butter. That's not true. We can afford her preferred peanut butter. Problem is, it is very difficult to find her preferred brand of peanut butter that is basically all natural and basically are considered no stir. So basically, a lot of natural peanut butter, if you ever buy a jar of natural peanut butter, there's always this layer of oil on top that you can either pour off or mix back into the peanut butter. That's just natural. When we can find it, she gets this, I don't know what brand it is anymore. I just, you know, brand names to me just run amok, because 9 times out of 10, doesn't matter what the brand name is. If you look at the jar, 9 times out of 10, 2 different brands will have the same basic ingredients. It's just a label. It's just a brand name slapped onto a bottle of, or a jar of peanut butter or any other product. So it's not about looking for quantity or quality. It's more like looking for expense, because a lot of these brand names are just like identical ingredients. So it's like, okay, which one has less sodium or less sugar or less carbs or more protein? You know, it's a shopper's game, basically. You know, used to be an old game show back in the 80s. Mom watched it, and it wasn't really, was it The Price is Right? I might be thinking about The Price is Right, but change it around for, instead of Price is Right, Ingredients is Right. Which ingredients are the better of the ingredients? You know, which has got the better product or quality compared to the other brands. That would be the guessing game. You know, guess which brand of peanut butter is better for you, not because of the commercials, but because of the ingredients. That's how a lot of companies sucker you into it. They create these new splashy, fancy labels to attract you to buy them, because most people, when they go shopping, they might know what's on their shopping list, but they might not understand what ingredients are in what product, and might just buy the first product that has the lower price and or the fancier label. If you're like me, I don't worry about label or price, because it's like, I know what I like, I know what brands I enjoy, and yeah, you can go into my pantry and you can find honey nut peanut butter from Peter Pan. You can find crunchy peanut butter from Jif, and creamy from Skippy. It depends on what we like, you know. And nowadays, because of Jan, we do look at the labels like, okay, how much sugar and how much carbs. Yes, she gets the zero gluten-free bread, and she tries to get the gluten-free pasta. Our shopping is not always by look or price, it's by ingredient. But that's the way it is. I think between Jerry's desire to lose weight, which he has been, plus my desire to live I'm gonna botch the word up again, but a Hagee or Hugie lifestyle. And I think the bright side, yeah, a lot of people are gonna like, bright side of cancer, what's that? Bright side of cancer is it's gotten Jerry to think more like, maybe Jim's right, should live with less items or less clutter. Even though she just got a bunch of new coffee cups from the Ray Dunn collection and whatnot, and I'm sitting there going, why? We almost had that paid off. We almost had Amazon paid off. Why would you go and buy coffee cups that we don't need? We've got enough coffee cups to choke a beluga whale, for crying out loud. And I'm not exaggerating. Between the holiday design coffee cups plus her regular everyday coffee cups, I lost count. Somewhere around 20. I remember when my dad was alive, he would have maybe 4 cups total for 2 cups, then dishes were done, or sometimes he'd misplace 1 cup and get another cup, or I think for the most part, most of the coffee cups he had, except for 1, were gifted to him. The one that was not gifted to him was the 1 coffee cup he used constantly, and the other ones were just up there as, hey, maybe I'll have guests that want coffee. Besides, every time she brings up the idea, because I kind of put it so far in the back burner that I don't worry about it no more. I'm like, if it happens, it happens. If God wanted us to have an RV, He will help us get an RV. But she's got it in her mind that we're going to get an RV by summertime. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I win the lotto. But she's like, yeah, I'm saving half of the stuff for the RV. The RV is going to have barely enough cabinet space. Some of those RVs have some nice cabinet space, especially Class C that she's been talking about. Because, we went to the RV place and talked to the gentleman. He was like, oh yeah, you can get like a mortgage on an RV. So basically, I don't have to pay. I put X amount of dollars down and and hopefully qualify to get a mortgage, and just have to pay the mortgage, the monthly fee for the mortgage. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't know that, but she's acting like she can put. Well, as my brother-in-law would say, you have a 5-ton bag, but you're trying to shove 10 tons worth of stuff in it. Don't work that well. But hey, you know what? She's got these dreams and schemes that she wants to do during the summertime because she does not know how much longer she has to live. Which is kind of morbid, but I'm like, first off, the idea of doing stuff during the summertime, if we can afford it, yes, I like that idea. But the idea of you thinking about your mortality and how much longer you have to live, okay, granted, you're preparing yourself for the inevitable. But right now, I don't think I can do that. I don't know what the future holds for me. I try not to look too far in the future or plan too far into the future because I've got today. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Yesterday was yesterday. It's in the past. It's not that I don't want to think about the factor that she may only have months to live. I don't know. Doctors have not given a stamp or a date or, oh yeah, you can die tomorrow. She does have basically terminal cancer, so it's kind of like one of those, okay, yes, we know she's got terminal cancer. Yes, we're trying to work on it and get it taken care of so she can, at least enjoy a couple more years. But when people put that word in front of any other form of disease or health issue, terminal, some people would go, oh, great, terminal, I have nothing to look forward to. So, you know what, I'm just going to go veg in my house and die. Not Jerry. At least not up until Friday. Friday rolled around and she got hit with aches and pains and feeling just nausea and she can't eat certain things because it's too rough on her mouth because whatever it is causing her mouth to become tender, and she laughs too hard with dry cracked lips and she'll get a split lip and have a bloody a lip issue. I mean, I feel for her, I really do, but at the same time, I'm like, same reason why I'm trying to get all my checkups and whatnot, because turn 50, and that's when things start to go downhill, and you got to keep an eye out on your health. So I'm waiting. If I don't get a call from the doctor pretty soon, I'm gonna call my primary back. But I'm waiting for a doctor calling me to set up an appointment for a colonoscopy, just to check my colon. And I didn't know what it was, so I looked it up and I went, I don't know if I want that. Of course, they're saying nowadays they don't try to stick the doctor's finger up your bum. They stick a camera up your bum. I don't care what it is. That's an exit only, folks. No. No, thank you. Now, maybe because the factor of the book I was reading was a little outdated, they might do it differently. I don't know. All I know is my primary suggested, because of my age, to get colonoscopy. She suggested getting full body scans to make sure everything's functioning right, nothing looks out of sorts. I know I don't look at the camera that often. I'm always looking down. It's because of the factor I look at the camera, and because of my eyesight going bad, camera looks very blurry, and it kind of gives me a headache. So That's why I'm always like not looking at the camera. If I was trying to read something, I'd have glasses on. That's how bad my eyes are. I literally have to have glasses to read. Everything at a distance is fine and dandy, but anything that's basically as close as the camera is, which is not a grandiose distance, but it's close enough that, I can make out details, but I cannot make out like the timer that's up here at the top of my phone. I can't make out. It looks like 30. That's all I can make out. Looks like either 30. It can't be 80 because we don't go past 60 on our clock, so it has to be 30. So, but no, I'm at that age where I need to go get things checked out, and every so often I get the only way I can describe it is it's almost like shoulder pain that radiates from like my collarbone down my arm. And Jerry's worried that it could be like heart attack related, but I'm like, I don't feel any pain in my chest, no shortness of breath, just pain in my arm. And it's almost a numbing pain. So it's like, yeah, I need that checked out. But I'm more worried about Jerry's health right now than my own, but I know I should be taking care of myself and should probably go do some of the exercises the doctor has been wanting me to do for my back so it doesn't hurt as much. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll join Jerry in PT later on this morning. I begin to wonder sometimes if she's doing her own PT. I hope she is. But the way things have been going lately with Jerry, I begin to wonder sometimes. And because we can't afford, and our insurance is not letting us get a home health aide person, the thing is, the home health aide person is only going to be here while I'm at work. So it's like, how early can they get in? I have to leave the house by at least 5:30, 5:40 in order to get to working time. With a few minutes to spare, of course. So this person would have to be here like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning until I get home from work. They don't have to be here Monday through Friday. Or not Monday. They would have to be here Monday through Friday and have the weekends off because I'm home. Except for yesterday. So it's like, I don't know if we could afford something like that, let alone who provides it here in the city of Rolla. My mom can only do so much for Jerry. Mom can possibly, prepare lunch if I haven't done that. Mom helps with cleaning the dishes and whatnot. But if mom could help with like making sure Jerry has lunch, and maybe, I don't want to add any extra work to mom, but maybe if mom would be willing to help clean up the main part of the house. I don't expect mom to clean up our bathroom or our living room or our bedroom. But here's the thing. Mom has her own back issues and health issues. And, well, mom's not a very good cleaner anymore because she's having issues. Even though she wants to say that she's not, I'm like, Mom, I've been with you practically all my life except for the 15, 16 years I lived in New York. And the short period, the year or two in Arizona where I lived on my own. I know her well enough to say, yeah, you are starting to have some memory issues, some issues with making sure everything's cleaned all the way. I mean, we have a dishwasher to do the main dishes, but we do the pots and pans by hand. And sometimes, and it could be the water, it could be her method of cleaning, it could be any number of things. But every so often, I'll put away the pots and pans, or I'll take a pot or pan from the dish rack to use it, and I'll find it's still a little greasy, so either all the soap wasn't washed off or something like that, or especially the pot that I use for making oatmeal will still have it will have a ring from the boiling water. It will maybe have one or two oats still stuck to the pan, and I'm like, I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to upset mom, but at the same time, I'm like, how can I get this to change? Now, see, most people I know wash pots and pans and dishes with bare hands. Mom puts on a pair of rubber gloves, so she does not have that tactile feeling that it's still greasy. And I don't want to deter mom from doing anything beneficial to everybody here at the house, but at the same time, I'm like, I have no problem with rinsing the pans to get rid of as much of that greasy feel, but at the same time, some mornings I'm so tired that I just don't even check. I just put it on the stove and start cooking. Well, with Jayan's immune system being all messed up, I have to be more mindful of, if the pots and pans are clean enough. So I just kind of go, okay, wipe my finger across the edges or around the edge, or maybe in the middle of the pan, and if it feels like it's still got a coat of grease or soap or whatnot, I try to rinse it off as best I can. That's just the way things are. And I know this sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm not. I'm just giving you guys information on what goes on around the house. But yeah, I'm just trying to make things work as smoothly as possible. The downside is I suffer in the end, which is kind of making me go, well, do I do this to make everybody comfortable and happy? Or do I just say screw it and do my own thing and let everybody else either muddle through or wait until I'm ready to do anything for them? Sometimes I have a hard time of separating myself from what other people need. And that's one of the reasons why this room has suffered so badly, because I'm just like, I'll put it in my room and deal with it later. I gotta stop doing that, because then I will never be able to get things the way I want to. At least not until I don't know, even then. I've tried to contemplate about, what I'm going to do in the future. And sometimes I go back to the whole, Mom will probably want to move somewhere out west, where she can be closer to certain family members. Because I don't know if she'll want to stay in Rolla by herself. She may not. I was contemplating on just selling practically everything I own except for clothes and certain books, and try to get an RV or something like that so I can work my summers in Yellowstone and work the south rim of the Grand Canyon during the wintertime. No. I know this one guy who does that, but he doesn't have an RV. He just has a backpack full of his belongings, and either tries to hitch a ride or something of that nature to get to and from the two different job sites. It's with the same company, old company I used to work for when I was working in Yellowstone. Xanterra Parks and Recreation. Of course, if you're good enough, and depending on what venue or area you work in Yellowstone, you can get a position during the wintertime. I was offered a position when I worked the summer of 2010. A lot of things were going on, and I just needed to get away from it all for a little while, and I got a job at Yellowstone. They offered me a winter position, and I was like, oh, if it wasn't for the fact that my wife would go bonkers, I would have taken that winter job. I would have been like, oh, these are covenant little positions. This is not just handed out to anybody. And I almost went, choink, yep, okay, Jerry's just going to have to deal on her own or move out here. I could have gotten her a job or helped her get a job as a receptionist for the inn, the Old Faithful Inn, because that's open year round. I think most everything except for one or two jobs at Yellowstone Old Faithful. Yellowstone Old Faithful is in operation all year round, except for maybe during the hardest part of wintertime, which is January and February. The operations that happen during that time is the Old Faithful Inn, the original inn from when Teddy Roosevelt had it built. I don't think Mammoth Hot Spring, not Mammoth Hot Springs, excuse me. The Geyser Grill, which is their fast food venue, is open all year round, but I think it is. The Frontier Cabins are not open all year round. They actually move some of the employees because there's less employees than there will be less employees and space in the dormitories. So the dorm I was in when I worked there in 2010, that dorm is converted, is changed over, so it's for guests who are staying at Old Faithful area. So they have a place to stay if the inn is overflowing. There was talks that they were going to do one or two other dormitories like the one I was in, which I think was the Obsidian Hall, as they called it. But I would have loved to work there for the winter time, because from what I understand is a lot of times when you work winters in Yellowstone, you're probably working 60% of the time, while the other percentage of time you're out playing in the snow. You can take what they call a snowcat up to the Mammoth Hot Springs area, which is also open all year round, and go on a snowmobile adventure up there. The thing about Yellowstone during the wintertime is the only two places open are Mammoth Hot Springs and Old Faithful, because all the other locations are in areas that are prone to have avalanche, or the roads get blocked because of the amount of snow. So they only worry about plowing from the north gate at Gardner to the south gate at Jackson Hole. So because it's kind of a main route through that area of the country, which is kind of like you let big semi trucks go through this area, and no, they don't let the semis go through because of their size and whatnot. And to get from Gardner, Montana, which is the North Gate, to the first stop, which is Mammoth Hot Springs, you have a very small but treacherous stretch of road because it has these blind turns where you don't see what's coming around the mountain. You just happen to see the road go in that direction and hope it's not a big rig, because they will take up the whole road. Yeah. So, and last year when Jerry was in fairly good health and didn't know it was cancer or anything like that, we had thought about going to Yellowstone for my birthday. Jerry wanted to do that, but the roads were closed for construction. So we scratched that off the list of things to do. That, in fact, that was about the time... No, was it last year? No, I think it was 2020. We were talking about doing that, and that's when she started having aches and pains that she did not understand and did not feel up to doing a road trip or anything like that. No, I was right the first time. It was last year. Because last year around my birthday is when she was going through all these doctor's appointments and possible hospital stay and finding out that it was cancer, but not like what to do or what they were going to do. Everything was still in the planning, like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to have to get you up to a hospital to take care of that one tumor. Should have taken care of both the upper and lower tumor, but they didn't think the upper tumor was going to be that bad. Yeah, until it collapsed on itself. But, oh, crud. Sorry, folks, give me a second. It looks like 47. Yes, it is. Alright, I am going to, since I'm just babbling, because my brain was wanting to shut down. It's one of those days. I'm going to go ahead and get off. I know a lot of you have, how can you get an RV? How's Jerry going to travel? Well, I appreciate your concern, but in all true honesty, if Jerry has it in her mind to get an RV somehow, nothing's going to stop her. Once she gets it in her mind that she wants a certain thing or wants to do it, when she wants to do it, there's no trying to stop her. Now, when I wanted to do it 2 years ago, when I started looking at RVs and thinking about it, she was like, no, we can't afford it, we can't do this, blah, 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 blah. Now she's like, oh yeah, we can possibly, if we can possibly get one. I mean, pretty soon, if the money keeps on going the way it is, because it's going good, blah, 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 Okay, so now it's your idea, and you're bound and determined to do it, no matter what. But when I was bound and determined to do it, you talked me out of it. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to fight that one because it's just one of those, like, okay. So, I mean, I think what really got her hooked on looking at RVs when we were doing it before we knew she had cancer, we went out to there's a Campers World in Springfield, and she actually got up into one of the Class C's that we were looking at online, and she was actually like surprised on how comfortable she was in it, getting around it, walking up and down in it, and all that fun stuff. And I was like, two ways to get into the driver's seat. Either you can go in through the door that is designated for the driver, or you can get into the RV, walk down, walk over to the driver's seat, because I think they swivel, sit down in it, turn yourself towards the steering wheel, and lock yourself in place, and either one of us can drive. Well, at the time it would have been her, but now that I've had to drive to St. Louis and Jeff City for her eye exam, and then up towards Springfield at a little town called Lebanon, where her eye surgeon is, her eye doctor or whatnot, for her shots. I've been doing all that driving. Mainly because she can't because of her foot, her leg, whatever. But anyhow, yeah, let me get off this before this is an hour-long video and whatnot. So yeah, if you enjoyed this little video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I will deal with those in one way or shape or form. If I don't have a comment to reply, I just, give it a thumbs up and let you guys know that I, read it by doing that. If you're new to my channel and choose to join for whatever reason, your choice, there's a little bell or a little thingy that says subscribe. You hit that subscribe button and a little bell will pop up, and click on that, and YouTube will let you know when I put in a new video. So until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.